Good morning Class 1 and welcome to today's English lesson. Thank you so much for all the fantastic work you did yesterday on identifying the different features of instructional writing. Pedro was really impressed with the work that you did, as I was, and it meant that yesterday afternoon we were able to go out into the garden and to build a trap to try and catch an alien, so Pedro is very excited about that. In today's lesson, we're going to be thinking a little bit more about instructions, and we're going to be planning to write our own set of instructions for Pedro. Now, the instructions that we're going to be writing are to help Pedro do things around the house a little bit more independently. Because at the moment, he's relying on me to do a lot of the things to help him. And I'm very busy teaching Class 1, so I want Pedro to be able to do a few more things by himself. One of the things that Pedro really wants to learn how to do is to make his own lunch. Now, I asked Pedro what his favourite type of sandwich is, and he told me it was a jam sandwich. Is that right, Pedro? Oh, okay. No, apparently I'm wrong. His favourite type of sandwich is a tuna sandwich. So we are going to be writing a set of instructions for Pedro to help him learn how to make a tuna sandwich. But before we can help Pedro, we need to know how to make a tuna sandwich. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how to make a tuna sandwich. You need to watch the steps carefully because we're going to be creating a storyboard to help us remember what we need to do when. So when you're watching the video, you need to think about what step 1 is. What do I do first? Then you need to be thinking about what step 2 is. What do I do second? And so on. Because on our storyboard, we are going to be drawing a picture of each step. And the picture is going to help us remember what we need to do at each step when we come to write our instructions. So the storyboard is really important. It's going to help us remember the steps to make a tuna sandwich. Okay, so first I've collected the ingredients that I need. I've got 2 pieces of bread, some mayonnaise, some tuna, some butter, a mixing bowl, a spoon for mixing, and a knife for spreading. Okay, let's start to make this tuna sandwich. Step 1, get 2 pieces of bread. 1, 2. Spread the butter on the bread. Open the tin of tuna. Put the tuna in a bowl. Squeeze in the mayo. Mix the mayo and the tuna. Add the tuna to your sandwich. Cut your sandwich in half. Eat your sandwich. Okay, now you've watched the video, you should all know how to make a tuna sandwich. In today's English lesson, we are going to be storyboarding the steps so that when we come to write our instructions, if we forget the order, we can look back at our storyboard to remind ourselves. Now, who can remember what the first step was? You needed to get 2 pieces of what? See if you can tell a grown-up. That's right, you need to collect 2 pieces of bread. So in my first story box, I'm going to draw 2 pieces of bread. Doesn't matter what your pieces of bread look like, I'm sure your drawings will be much better than mine. Step number 2 was to spread the butter on the bread. So in box number 2, I'm going to draw a knife because I had to use a knife to spread the butter. I'm going to draw my piece of bread and I'm going to draw some butter. And I'm going to write butter on there. Butter. Step 2 complete. Step 3 was to open the tuna and to put it in a bowl. So I'm going to draw a fish, because tuna is a type of fish, and I'm going to draw a bowl with an arrow reminding me that I'm putting the tuna inside the bowl. Step number 4 was to squeeze in the mayonnaise. So I'm going to draw my mixing bowl again, and I'm going to draw my jar of mayonnaise, and I'm going to have a go at writing mayo. M-A-O. And again, I'm going to draw an arrow to show that that's going into the mixing bowl. Step number 5 was to mix the mayo and the tuna together. So again, I'm going to draw my mixing bowl, and I'm going to draw a big spoon to show I'm mixing the ingredients in the bowl. Step number 6 was to add the tuna to the pieces of bread. So I'm going to draw my 2 pieces of bread, and I'm going to draw my tuna fish again with an arrow showing that I am adding it to my sandwich. Step number 7 was to cut your sandwich in half. So I'm going to draw my sandwich, and I'm going to draw a dotted line down the middle to show that I'm cutting it into 2 halves, and again I'm going to draw my knife to remind me that I'm cutting the sandwich. Step number 8 and our final step is to eat the sandwich, which is the part that Pedro is most excited about. So to remind me that it's Pedro that's eating the sandwich, I'm going to draw a picture of him on the board. Your drawings will be much better than mine. There's Pedro. And I'm going to draw him with a tuna sandwich in his hand, ready to tuck in and eat it. Now we've had a go at story mapping the steps to make a tuna sandwich together, I would like you to create your own storyboard with a picture for each step on how to make a tuna sandwich. Remember, you can rewatch the video and pause it at any point to remember the steps and the order in which you need to follow them in. Pedro is really excited to receive all of your instructions because on Friday, at the end of this week, Pedro is going to have a go at making his own tuna sandwich for lunch, and you are going to be helping him achieve that. So thank you, Class 1. He wouldn't be able to do it without you. Good luck! We can't wait to see your story maps on Tapestry.